I present to you Jan Abernathy and Kim Burleski.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
This is going to be like half chit chat. I'll show you some things on my website and some things to look, where you can find all my resources. And then it's going to be playtime, baby. You're going to have hands-on. You're going to be able to touch and look at everything and ask us questions, and it'll give you an idea of what you really want in your makerspace and what you really don't want in your makerspace. So, I'm starting with Jabernathy.com. That is my website, and the biggest mistake that people make is spelling my name Jabernathy, A-T-H-Y, but it's E-T-H-Y. If you remember that, it's really easy to find. If you just type into Google Jabernathy, you'll get here really easy, or Jabernathy.com. So, the way that my website is organized is in the upper left corner. These are the most current websites that my students are doing right now. We have a picture of the day blog, which gives like a snapshot of something that happened that day, every day. Our blog, that tells what's going on in the classroom. I teach 5th grade science. I teach 4 classes a day. And so that's, that's a fun site for you to look at and maybe get some ideas. My science class is very, very hands-on. Sometimes the kids don't even realize that they're learning because it's too much fun. We have an experiment channel. We do a lot of green screening of them doing their experiments, and we put it on the experiment channel. If you go there, please leave comments. How do the kids always say it? They say, like, comment, subscribe. And then we also have a YouTube channel that has videos of all kinds of things we do. As you scroll down, though, you're going to see resources for parents, for things about our class, and then tools for students. What you really want to look at is for teachers. That's where you're going to find the Makers Club presentation. And you may see other things in there that you want to learn more about or whatever. But this website is I started it probably 17 years ago, so it has a lot of layers. And I also have former classes, so each of these is a website from another class that goes even deeper into everything that they've done. So if you ever want to go look in there, you can. So I'm going to click on Makers Club. Yeah, we get it. So, Makers Club is a club that we have in the morning. Our school day, the teachers have to be there at 8, but school doesn't start till 8:35. Our doors, the kids are standing there just knocking the doors down because they want to come to Makers Club. They love it. We have 3 sections of Makers Club, and my section is all of this stuff. And you say, where do you get all of this stuff? Granted, a lot of what I'm showing you here is my own personal things that I have gotten from my Amazon wish list, for Christmas, for birthdays, from my family, from my children, that kind of thing. But also, Donors Choose. If you don't use Donors Choose, oh my goodness, please use Donors Choose. You can get so many things from there, and I'll show you some other places that you can get things. A lot, and I was thinking about it as I got here. I have pictures for you to see, but a lot of the items, the cheaper items that I have that I did not bring, maybe I should have brought. Those are items that you can start with And that's how you can do a Makers Club, start it in under $100. And you can probably talk your principal into, you know, giving you $100 out of petty cash, maybe, I don't know, but if you're lucky. So, let's see. This is a video. Has anyone ever seen this video of the little boy with the arcade, Kane's Arcade? Raise your hand if you've seen this video. Okay, most of you have, so I'm not going to really show it. If you have not, when you go to the website, please play it. The reason I don't want to play it is I don't want to take up the time from playing it. But it is basically what brought about Makers Clubs across America and what started the whole movement.
Where is this?
Pardon me?
Where is this video?
Well, what you do is you go to jabernathy.com and click on Makers Club, and then it's in the presentation on the website. Okay, did you get it there? Then go to the next page. Let me see. Oh, no, that's all right. To the next, But, okay, so anyway, next, I don't know why hers didn't take her to SlideShare, but I also wanted to show you, I'm actually gonna by the time you go home, I've replaced this presentation with with a new one that has, and I should actually be pulling that one up. And that's what you'll see is a newer presentation with some things. I don't really need to, but here are some takeaways, printables, and you can print them. But this is the list for items that you can buy very cheaply to start a Makers Club. Now keep in mind, a Makers Club, going back, I said we have 3 sections, and mine is mostly, we called ours high tech, STEAM, and that's what Kim teaches STEAM in our building, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So she has like all the art supplies and that kind of thing. So hers is a little different than mine. So they call that STEAM, and then there's just the low tech, or no tech. There's no tech. And that's basically arts and crafts. And some kids, that's all they want to do. They want to do arts and crafts. So you can even have just an arts and crafts section. There's no technology at all. And you can't believe how excited kids get about that. As a matter of fact, this week, one of the teachers in the building gave each kid a piece of yarn and tied a knot in it. And you know how you do all those little tricks with the yarn? It about drove the rest of us nuts. We could not get the kids to stop making, Mrs. A, pull a banana, and there's, you know, oh, you took them all. Oh, I only saw that 50 times today. But you know, I teach 5th, our building is 4th, 5th, and 6th. The tiniest little things they enjoy doing. But giving them cardboard, tape, and no electronics is also an option. But this is a donation list that you can ask parents to send things in for. This is a list of how to stock your Makers Club for $100 or less. Let me go back there. Somehow went backwards. how to stock your makerspace for $100 or less. And there is a list here coming down that gives you ideas. And the thing is, I mean, these might not even be the things that you would be interested in, but they may spark ideas for you. And sometimes what you'll realize is, oh, we have all that stuff already. And maybe your art teacher has a lot of supplies that they're not using or whatever. Or sometimes teachers order too many supplies and they have extra supplies in their room or whatever that you can use. And that's another thing, you can just actually ask that person to, oh, you want to join the Makers Club? Especially whoever has the most supplies. This is a student take-home sheet that is not there right now, but it will be. It explains what the Makers Club is, what it's all about, and the kids take it home, and that's permission to come early in the morning and join the Makers Club. This is an example of a Google Doc that you give to the kids at the very beginning, and it's an interest survey. What are you interested in? And of course, you just go through this just to get ideas to maybe create your own, and then that gives you an idea. Because you may have your own ideas of what you want your makerspace to look like, but that may not be what the kids' idea of a makerspace is. And the other thing that I've noticed, I've gone to some sessions today that I've noticed they're very activity-based and challenge-based. Now, what I'm talking about is a lot different than the activity-based, challenge-based makers clubs or makerspaces. What I'm talking about, the way that I run my makers club is all of these items right here. I come in the morning, and a couple of kids come in early, and all of this stuff is on the shelves in my room, and all we do is we take all this stuff off the shelves and put it on tables and desks all around my classroom. And the kids walk in, and they go to what they want to do. Now, this, for example, this Meccano, I have two bigger ones. One of them is not done. We have been working on it since the beginning of the year. So it's 40 minutes, once a week, 1,881 pieces with a baggie about this big, screws and nuts. So there is a group that every week they go straight to that. And that's what they do, and they're putting it together. And on Friday, I said, do you think you can get that done for this? I was so hoping. Do you know they had it right down to, they even had this leg on. They had one leg to go.
Oh.
So he didn't get to come, the other Meccano. But some kids want to build things, and it's funny. Once they get built, they don't want any more parts of it. But another kid will spend hours programming it and driving it around, and I don't care what they're working on. To me, that's their exploration. And on top of that, and I've even found, yesterday I did a presentation for Discovery, and some people were coming up and asking me, how do I do this, how do I do this? I was a little embarrassed. Some of the items up here, I don't know how to use, because, like I said, I put it out on the tables and the kids figure it out. And so kids will come up to me and, you know, you have your kids who are like step-by-steppers and, okay, so what do I do with this? Get an iPad, choose an app that says Sphero or BB-8, and then figure it out. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've never driven BB-8. And they go, what? I said, I'm serious. I said, but I bet you can figure it out. And you know, by the end of a day or two of Makers Club, that kid is so proud because he figured it out. And because they all play video games and stuff, they can figure that stuff out faster than we can. So that's that, and let me see if there's anything else I wanted to is this? These are just pictures of the kids. I really don't want to get too much into all of this, except it's really good to have a goal. In Meadville, they have a Robobots contest, which my kids are too young to do the actual Robobots, but PAECT has a STEAM showcase. So the kids can set up a table like this and show all of their stuff. And I now have kids who are in 6th grade that this year will be the 3rd time they're going. They're already asking me, when's the STEAM showcase? When do we get to go do that? So it's good for them to have something to work towards, because then they'll choose something to become really good at and become the expert at it, so that when they go to the STEAM showcase, that's what their, expertise is in. So we've done that, and this is us at a STEAM showcase, having, 3D printing. This was really funny. We had my 5th and 6th graders teaching these high school kids how to use the 3D printer. And these girls showing younger girls how to use dash and dot. And I had one girl using the Ozobots, and she had 3 and 4-year-olds coming up, and she would give them a piece of paper and she'd say, okay, take this marker and draw some lines, and then she would put the Ozobot on it, and these 3 and 4-year-olds, their eyes would just be like this. But in the meantime, so would my student who actually got to teach that kid. And also there is a showcase at the Rotunda in Harrisburg every year. Highly recommend if you can take your kids to that. It doesn't cost anything, you just apply. And just to tell them that they get to go to the Capitol. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Pennsylvania Capitol building. It is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And it's a really good experience for them. That's another one. And the way that I do it, I don't ask the school district for anything other than a sub for myself. I learned that after the beginning, at the very beginning of it. A sub for me for the day. For the kids, I ask that it's on a Monday. I ask that their parents come, bring the kids. We all stay in the same hotel, Sunday night, and the kids go swimming in the pool and have such a blast. And then the next day, we go to this showcase in the Rotunda, and then they talk about it forever. And then they get their PAECT t-shirts, and they call it their paste shirts. So they'll tell each other, let's wear our paste shirts tomorrow. But it's another thing that they look forward to, and they'll have a goal of trying to have something really cool done in time for paste. Paste in Harrisville. Harrisburg. I live in Harrisville, but. Where to get the best deals. This is to buy things. Whoops. Five Below. Have you ever been to Five Below? Have any of you ever been to Five Below? Oh my gosh, they have the coolest stuff in Five Below. And it all costs either $5 or less. And they have really well, not this stuff isn't that great, but we'll go back to my slide. What happened here? Okay, these are all things that I found there. They have slime things and volcano kits, and those are things that just little boxes like that you can set out on a table, and a group of kids will come in and do that. And it might take them a couple of sessions to work through it. And it makes them want to come back the next week. And honestly, getting a kid to get up an hour earlier for school and come to school, you wouldn't think would be that easy. These kids die for it. They love Maker's Club. They'll do anything to get there, because you know, they're just really into it. I have some newer things now. Tinker Crate. And if you have any of your own children, I would highly recommend this. They have them in different age levels, but it's like one of those box subscription things that you get, and you can get them for younger kids, and I think I get the 9 to 12 age. But as you can see, there's copper wire in here, and this is some kind of circuit, has a battery in here and wires, and I don't know what it's for. I don't know what they're making. I never know what they're making until it's done, because the Tinker Crate box shows up, and I have this small group that are the Tinker Crate kids. They go crazy when they see the Tinker Crate come in. And the one day, a couple weeks ago, they came to me, and there was just like this little plastic box with some wires off of it, and it held batteries. And they said, Mrs. A, we broke the battery box, and we don't, and now they had made this dome that would put stars, that had like holes poked in it, and it would light up onto the ceiling, stars and everything, and they were really upset, and they thought I'd be angry with them, and I said, well, let me look at that. So I got on Amazon, 99 cents to buy a battery pack like that. So I bought about 6, and I said to them, you know, you've done quite a few of these Tinker Crates now, and I've seen you with wires, I've seen you with batteries, I've seen you with the little lights. I said, what if you didn't have a Tinker Crate, and you just had that stuff? Do you think you could make something? And they looked at each other and they said, oh yes, we could. And you know, at the beginning of the year, they wouldn't have been able to. They would have no idea, but now they understand it. So then I have this kit, and when you come up, you might want to write it down and write to this. I think the information is on this box. And if it isn't, I'm adding it to the presentation.
There's a QR code right inside the lid.
Oh, awesome. This guy sent this to me for free, and it has a Hyperduino in it, but it also has like wires and all of this stuff. And okay, here I am being honest again. I don't understand this stuff. I don't know how to do this stuff. I really don't. But I have kids in a room that can. My forte, what I'm good at, is a 3D printer. I'm not a total loss. It's not like you know, I don't do anything, but I try. I just don't understand electronics, but the kids figure it out. And the other thing is, you always have to have a computer open to YouTube, because that's where kids go nowadays to learn things. And some of them leave Makers Club and go home and look things up on YouTube and come back and use what they learned to make something. So YouTube is not the evil being that everyone says it is, I think, if the kid's going the right way. Let me think what else. I have this box. Okay, let's get into 3D printing here. I love 3D printing, but I believe in 3D printing for a purpose. So this year, one of the projects that we started this at the very beginning of the year, making the prosthetic hands. So I taught the kids, you know, obviously they don't design the 3D hands. I mean, I couldn't even do that. There's a program called enabling.thefuture.org, and they have several different hands that you can download from Thingiverse, and the patterns and everything, the files for the fingers and the pins and this part of the hand, and this is called the gauntlet, and the hinge pin. So I taught the kids how to download the files, and their STL files. Then I taught them how to slice the files to create the files that the 3D printer uses. And then I have a 3D printer in my classroom, and I taught some of the kids how to use the 3D printer in my classroom, only like some of the kids in my homeroom. But for the most part, I end up taking the files home and printing, because I have 2 more 3D printers at home. And then they had to figure out how to put it together. So they were trying to use the manual, the handwritten manual. They didn't get very far with that. That ended up being a YouTube savior. But the funny thing is, well, we needed to create a video for Enabling the Future to be able to apply to make one of these hands for a real person, because that's been the goal. And now we started that at the beginning of the year, and you know, we've been making the hands and practicing putting them together, and I mean, we've only recently totally gotten them together. Once we got them together, we started putting more and more together. But you know, up until now, we've had bags of pieces, and it's kind of crazy. But then I had this group of boys trying to get the strings and stuff on it, and they were having no luck at all. So back to the application process, we had to make a video. So I said to the kids, we have to make a video to apply. So the one boy said, let's make a mannequin challenge video. So the kids, we stayed after school, and they posed themselves all over the room in different processes of creating a 3D printed hand. And the one girl was pretending she was doing the strings and stuff. And she started figuring, she said, you know what, I think I can do this. And I said, really? She said, yeah, I think I have these screws and the string and everything and the elastic and all that. I think I have it figured out. I said, take it home. She took it home, texted me a little video later that night she had it put together, and this is a completed hand. Now this is a hand that they have to have a wrist. You know, it has to have, and the different patterns, you know, it depends on the ability of the person. So once they assign us to someone, we may end up making a different kind of hand. But for now, these were our practice hands. But this one here, I'm even able to pick up like a water bottle and drink and not spill too much. So this is one of the projects that we're working on. Another project that we're working on is we have friends that we have Skyped with who live in Africa. And there are a lot of other teachers. You'll meet Michael Sosko. I never know how to say his name. He's one of the speakers on Wednesday. And he was Teacher of the Year, I think, last year. I don't know if any of you know him. But he is very involved with this guy. His name is Livingstone, who created a school called Hip Africa, and it's out in the middle of nowhere in Africa. And they've had a lot of struggles, and there are a lot of teachers in America who have helped him because he is a master Skyper. Livingstone. He will Skype with anybody. And if any of you want to Skype with him, he will Skype with you. Now the time zone thing is kind of tricky, but he will Skype with you. So we Skyped with Livingstone, and we said, you know, we know that you're getting a lot of different things from different people, but we want to know, what could we do for you using a 3D printer? And he said, oh, I don't know. He said, what is a 3D printer? So we showed him some of our stuff, and he said, well, maybe like animals. And then we can hold the animals up and say, you know, cat or lion or tiger or whatever. And then, because we're teaching these younger children English, so what we did after a lot of struggles, my kids first started, they were trying to collect books for them. And then we came across the problem, how are we going to get the books there? It'd be so expensive, not to mention they didn't really have a place we could send them, etc. So then we're sending the books to a place called booksforafrica.org, and that is in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we came up with these, and it turns out that a lot of people, different teachers, go to Africa. Like, these are these flat little animals, and you can take this little guy's feet off, and it's totally flat. This is like a zebra, and you just pop his legs on like this. And so, like, I know this one teacher, Ben Honeycutt, he's from Colorado, and we've Skyped with him, and he may be going to Africa this summer. So we can send those with him, and that's something, they're like totally flat, totally compact. You can just put them in a suitcase and it won't weigh anything, and it won't be a problem. And then the kids have been making letters on Tinkercad, and also they're going to, like, these animals we just downloaded, but next week they're gonna start designing their own animals in Tinkercad, because they've actually just started into the Tinkercad thing. The other thing that we did with 3D printing is the kids all found different planters, because every 3 students got a succulent plant, and they had to transplant it. So we have about 30 planters in our room growing succulent plants in them, and there were various projects they had to do with. They actually, they had to research it. They had to take pictures of it and edit the pictures and upload them to Padlet, and they had to work together to make a smart amp. If you don't know what a smart amp is, are you teaching that? Oh, let me think. Somebody in here must be. Yes. When is your
Tomorrow.
Gretchen, oh, sorry, Gretchen. Yes, Gretchen will have a session tomorrow on Smart Amp, right?
Smart Lab and Smart Amp is Wednesday.
Oh, okay. If you get a chance to go to that, it's amazing. It's super collaborative learning. And so anyway, they did a lot of things with that. But, I like to keep it real, where they're using the 3D printer for real purposes. But anyway, I think that's all I'm going to talk about. Do you want to ask some questions, or do you want to start playing? Okay, go ahead.
So if your school does nothing like this, and it can really be on a volunteer basis, it can really be only 30 minutes, you can really start with nothing, and you don't give them any kind of structure or guidelines, they just come and play with this stuff.
Yes.
How many kids would you say tapping it at would be the best?
If it's just you.
It is.
It's just you. Oh my gosh. I have sometimes 30, 40
Really?
in my room. And honestly, I don't ever have to speak to any of them. They are so engrossed in what they're doing. Honestly. But when you first start, you may not have enough stuff. And I don't know if I did get into the fact too, that you wanna also contact parents for Legos, and somebody offered us a whole bunch of Uber sticks and anything that they can build with. And kids nowadays, the real problem, they're so involved in sports and everything, and parents want to buy them all this stuff, so they buy them these toys to put together to play with at home, but they're never home, and they never get around to playing with them. And the little science kits and those little science labs that they buy them, and they sit in the cupboards. If you can tell parents, if you have anything like that, set it up, send it in, and we can do that. That is one of your best places to get stuff. Because, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but kids really are too busy to do that stuff at home. Yes?
So how would you decide? So I'm thinking of an after-school club, which
Oh.
would make it, a lot of people would want to join. So
Oh, yes, they would.
how would you decide who gets to join and who doesn't?
I would stick with one age for starters. Start with like maybe the oldest grade in your school. So that, you know, you kind of have to earn it to get there. You have to be the oldest group in the school to get there. And then I would also work on colleagues, trying to get other colleagues to join you. That is key, is trying to get other colleagues to join you.
So even then, if you had to whittle it down, like would you have a process? Like they would have to apply or
I would say the first so many to bring back the signed permission slip.
first come, first served?
Exactly.
I did Sign Up Genius, and you just figure out whatever your slot is, 15 slots. You put them up, and then once they're done, they're done.
Yes.
I do an after school club and with, since I get to see all the administrators that can see it, I would sign out, go out with them. They have to bring back the signed permission slip. When I talk to them about it, I tell them to consider their availability and talk to their parents. Because it wouldn't be fair if I have to randomly draw names from a hat or like you to join a thing and so like she can come all the time.
Exactly.
I've done it for like 6 years and it's been really good. I've never had to draw names from a hat once.
Wow.
I wish I could get more teachers to teach with kids, but
Yes.
telling them to think about their classmates has worked for us.
Yes. Yes.
What's your printer?
And this is a very interesting tip that I can give everybody. I have a Flash Forge Finder. That's kind of what I started with. Actually, I started with a printer bot, but I just beat the crap out of that. But then I had a Flash Forge Finder, and I really like it, but I think they're kind of phasing it out, and it's kind of difficult to get parts for. But I also have a Flash Forge Creator Pro, and I have a Flash Forge Guider too. So if you notice, I really like Flash Forge. I have tried Dremel. Dremel's probably the best printer I've ever seen as far as print quality and everything. I would never own one. Their PLA is so expensive. They're very, and they won't let you use any other kind of PLA. They won't let you take it apart. That's the thing with the Flash Forge. Even me, I figured out how to take the whole thing apart and put it back together again. I am now teaching 5th grade kids in my class how to take it apart and put it back together again. And I've taught them and I've figured out how to buy generic parts for it and everything. So it's kind of simple. It does a fantastic job. I really like Flash Forge. Another thing, buy a 3D printer, and if you have to just use it like crazy, day 29, make up your mind, send it back. I've done it 4 times. 4 times. I got a Robo, didn't like it, sent it back. Got the Dremel, didn't like it, sent it back. Got one of those wee little box things, don't ever buy those. What are they called? Maker 3D or whatever. I did not like that. So I bought a lot of different kinds, and Flash Forge, for the money, as far as I'm concerned, is the best.
So what is the price point?
A Flash Forge Finder is $399. A Flash Forge Creator Pro is about $899. And the Guider 2 is closer to 2,000, but it's like this big. There are no limitations on how big you can make things, because that's the other thing. Sometimes when you buy the smaller ones, you're all excited, you didn't pay much, and then everything you go to print is too big for your printer. You're like, well, it doesn't fit. No. That's mini printer, mini stuff. So for
Over 3D, and we have issues with when it gets stuck. I've had to take it apart several times, and I hate it.
Yeah, I like Flash Forge, but like I said, sometimes I've run into problems with them with parts sometimes, you know, if the parts aren't on Amazon and you have to go through Flash Forge, sometimes they're a pain. And the other thing too, if you're a man, you're not working on a Flash Forge. Because you need to have small hands to work on it. And as good as I thought I was on it, I had this one boy in my class who has like way smaller hands than me. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe the things he could do that I couldn't do. That I was frustrated with because he could get his fingers in different places. But that's the thing that you run into with the Chinese printers. I mean, I don't mean to be. Yes.
We just took a class through PD Campus and they give you the piece of equipment that the class is, it was a 3D printing class, you get it,
Mhm.
and it was a monoprice mini. Now they're about $150 to $200 and they've been very reliable for us.
What class?
A monoprice, so it's through PD Campus, it's called 3D printing.
And it's what kind of?
A monoprice mini, and you can get them on Amazon. Right before Christmas, they were $189. And they're not a big printer, but they're.
But at least when you're starting out 3D printing, just to learn it and figure it out, it's a really easy machine. Like I have a print bar plate that's in a box. That pissed me off last year.
What
I took
was
it
it?
apart. I have a print bar plate. Print bar
Oh.
plate. It's in a box. I took it
Printer
off,
bod.
took it apart, and
I took that class and I got the printer pod.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is very complicated and
the
I have to beat it
monoprice
up.
is very easy to use and something to start with. It's a
And
small.
the monoprice too, I heard, that's one I haven't tried, but you can get like the really big bed
Yeah.
for a lot less money too. The only thing that I don't know about it is it doesn't have the enclosed,
Doesn't.
and I kind of like an enclosed printer for the heat to make them like not warp, make your PLA doesn't warp as much and that kind of thing, but
For an enclosed one, then we have several automakers. At our
they're
district.
so expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Very expensive. Like, for one the size, that can print the size of my, probably the size of your monoprice, or maybe the size of the Flash Forge Finder, they're about $2,500 for an alternator. That's crazy expensive. Do you guys wanna come play? So, these iPads are hooked up to different things.
Yep.
Okay, what's this one? Remember, this is BB-8?
Yeah. I wanted to say too, in my makerspace, my kids bring in stuff from home, like cardboard boxes. They bring in water bottles, the laundry detergent containers. They'll bring in anything and make stuff out of anything. You don't even have to, you don't always have to buy stuff either. They'll bring stuff in, they'll get real creative.
Yeah, the 2-liter bottles.
Yeah.
The crazy thing, even for my science class, the amount of 2-liter bottles we go through in science class is ridiculous. Like, I think just this year we've gone through over 200.
Wow.
But, come on Isaac, come on up guys, don't be afraid.
Yours is more
Yeah.
so we just put out the art things and when I let them in,
This is my refrigerator. I have a smaller refrigerator. I have anywhere from, I can go from 4 and a half to, but they usually get fatigues. I have a room that's just meant to make video games.
And see, you can like, you can have the kids,
That's
there's a lot of different programs for Sphero, you know, at different levels. And then you can get into coding, and you can code and go through different, you can have them set up, days or whatever, do the coding. Like, it's the beginning of the, I
would say almost all of it, yes. But it, and
that's a shame, that's a shame.
but you know what's not a shame?
Yes,
I'll tell you this. Now that I'm retiring next year, all this stuff gets.
They really like those. I can start right now, I have 12 spheros in my room, and
So
they're
then it ended up being a good thing.
they're making a racetrack.
But I didn't realize that.
They're large, and they made it so that they can take them apart and lay it
My
out on
children, like my grandchildren,
and then they race the spheros around, and there's different like shortcuts and changes. So that's something, and again, like, but they thought of it, so that's what they're doing. I got here, I was like, but I didn't class that. So I just like the two.
You always think of it. I can remember when I was a stay-at-home mom until I was like 30. I bought books for my kids all the time. And then I remember like when my daughters were, started wanting things like Sweet Valley Twins and Babysitter's Club. And I'd be like, no, I can buy those. You put those from the library or whatever. But if it was like a good novel, I'd buy it because I knew I'd be able to use it in my classroom. So now I feel like it's the other way around. I'll buy it for my classroom if I know I'll be able to use it when I'm done.
These are well, this year it's not too difficult. So I can use that today. So if there's an overlap, I take it over with my family at Christmas, but next year I'll just have another and that'll be a challenge. Yeah.
I honestly just bought these for my children at Christmas time. I thought it was fun to sit around.
So I found for me, the best way to do it is only
That's what they are.
because our school goes through and cuts things off around. They really don't want to, but the only representative one thing, the Spiros, then they tend not to.
high school kids, they would be all over.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't they? $20 a Dollar General. Oh, Robobots. Robobots, those are intense. I would never be able to do that. They're made out of, they build them out of metal, and so you have to have like metal cutting machines, and you have to have like a metal shop. Totally look into that.
Yes.
You put together these teams, and then you go to this tournament really. But I'll bet they have them.
Anybody can do it.
There is something yeah. Dash and Dot do a ton. This is Dash and Dot. They do a ton of different things. Actually, he has a musical attachment.
Only if you have the people
Play music
and they're helping her
but you
doing
can use
that.
drag and drop coding to program the stuff, which is similar with the Sphero. I don't know what
Yeah, they're called Robobots.
these are
Oh my gosh. They have like, it is so serious too, because there's like teams of kids. I have one of these
So Heather, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the kids like the templates at first, and then they want to use them, or?
Honestly, I'll tell you the ones that are really just that would be these two. Okay. And then, oh no, actually, I think one of my students just handed me for nothing. One of my, but I think we can code this one, because we found an app for it one day. Because she was showing me the kids play with it, they don't have anything, and you can play with this thing. But then one day we did find an app for it. Now this other stuff, it has apps that you can like level up. My favorite is that. That you can go and make a kindergartner can play with that. But a 7th grader can code that. So the game level. The one program you start out with and you work your way through. This is West. It's called West, and you work your way through. And it's kind of a tutorial. You know, first you have to do this, you learn how to do this, and you learn how to do that. And by the end, it's taught.
So instead of just running like the same round outline,
Like if you
fill it in.
I wouldn't waste my money on
and build up a better.
unless it was for little kids.
And they'll find that
Because
if
they don't
they
move.
go in a pattern like this.
But it was like $50.